All right, we are live. I have no idea if any, but ooh, do I have this? Okay. Had to make sure I had it going out to a YouTube channel. I've done that before.
Yep, you're live.
All right.
I'm watching the live stream.
All right. So we got
Just a few handsome guys on YouTube chatting.
right on. So how you doing tonight, Norm?
Doing good. How you doing? Looks like you've been from your recent Twitter post been working on Linux.
Yes. Nice segue into tonight's topic. And you should know because you've been helping me all along. So yeah, the topic tonight is using Linux as an operating system for your computing needs, doing amateur radio especially, both in the shack and portable. It's something that I've been wanting to do for a very long time. In fact, right when I first got into amateur radio and started watching all the cool guys like Survival Tech Nord, Julian, and Smart Jason, KM, ACK, they all would have Raspberry Pis because at that time, in 2019, they were all the rage. So, of course, I bought two of them, and they've barely sat in a box until now, um, with the intent back then to put, the Raspberry software on it, and it's kind of the Raspberry or whatever. That's kind of Linux based, right?
Yeah.
See how tech savvy I am, folks? I really don't know anymore. So it's basically a mini computer Linux base. But I never got around to doing it. Like many hams have put stuff aside. And over the course of the last 6 years, everybody's moved on to just either buying a very cheap, inexpensive laptop or repurposing an old one. With Linux, the beauty of it is it's much more lightweight than Windows or Apple, where you don't get all the adware, the bloatware, all the stuff you don't need that they jam in there anyways. It's more streamlined and easy to use, efficient. Um, and again, it's been one of those things I've been meaning to get on and using for a long time, but I just never have. Um, hey, Tango Oscar, Mike's in the house. How's it going, Tom? And Norm's calling him Mike. Sorry.
I'm an idiot.
I think I've called him Mike before too. You just get the Tango Oscar Mike and it just rolls. Oh. But I was saying that people like to use Linux because it's simpler. And like we're discussing right before we hopped on here that, especially if you're doing something in the field like field day or parks on the air or some type of event, or if it's a real situation, you don't want to open up your computer, turn it on, and say installing 1,700 updates and all that kind of stuff. So it's a little nicer. Hey, Chris, thanks for joining us. So I finally decided let's get off the butt and start working on stuff. I've been wanting to build in my shack here more of an off-grid, low power communication system, if you will. I've been watching a lot of Jason KM4 ACK's videos. I really like what he's doing with APRS with that Yak software. Seems very cool. So trying to get into all of that stuff here. Hey, good evening. We got a bunch of people. Apparently people like the topic of Linux. And then on top of that, it's also not to get all tinfoil hat, but I'm want to have a little bit of less of big tech in my life, in my home, listening on me and everything. All the targeted ads get annoying, and all the other security risks. Keeping my data as my data, even though I don't have anything to hide, I just don't think everybody needs to see every spreadsheet and list and document I have. So all that to say that for the past couple of weeks, Norm's, or not constantly, but a few times, Norm here and I have met up online, and he's walked me through getting set up on Linux. Oh, there you go. That's the path I'm going, Tom. I'm going down that path too. Eventually, my home computer is going to be Linux as well. I kind of want to build. Well, I'll definitely have my internet connection and everything, but I'd like to air gap a computer or two for stuff that, once I get everything uploaded on the computer and running, I'm going to disconnect it from the internet altogether and just kind of be off on its side. But I keep digressing myself. Anyway, I went through my master plan of what I want to do to build out my home ham shack, and also set myself a little better for portable, because I had this old Panasonic Tough Book that I've been using for a field computer for a long time, and try to get that fixed up. Hey, I suckered somebody in with a good thumbnail. I guess I'm turning into a real YouTuber. Thanks, Tex Dave, for joining us. But yeah, on the thumbnail here, well, back up. I should probably put like a outline of what I want to do. But when I met with Norm and we recorded that, I'll probably put that out sometime. It's like an hour long. I don't know if I'll probably just do the whole video and put it out. But I was talking about, for my home setup for ham radio, to buy one of those inexpensive mini computers. You see them on Amazon for, in the $200 to $300 range. And Norm brought up that another good option would be looking for something that's refurbished, either on eBay or Amazon, or from a local retailer, if I can find like a computer outlet store. And that got me thinking again, that instead of going with that mini computer, if I get just a refurb laptop, then that's less of a footprint I'll have, and then I have a built-in battery backup, a keyboard, and a monitor, and all that stuff. So I looked through, and I found these ThinkPads that were refurbished and on sale, and that's a great option. Obviously, I thought it was. I bought one. It's roughly the same price as one of those mini computers, and again, it has everything that I need. Finding a ThinkPad or a similar office computer online is probably a good way to go for starters, because a lot of them are, if you work for larger companies like I do and Norm does, if you're an office jockey like us, every 2 or 3 years, the IT department says it's time for your new laptop, because they have to keep current and security and all that stuff. So they turn them in. And then to get rid of them, the companies will just take the hard drive out and any sensitive data, and then resell them. And then somebody or some company will buy them, install a fresh operating system and a cheap hard drive, and then resell them. Does that sound about the summary of our conversation so far, Norm?
Yeah. So in the laptop's better than those little mini computers, because you can carry it around, you can take it out to the field. And I thought you got a really good deal on that. Like who was saying, even used computer prices seem to be going up, Tom. Yep. And that's true. Yeah, especially with memory prices and storage prices going up. Even the used stuff's getting a little pricey, but yeah, you found a real good deal there. And after you bought it, it sold out pretty fast for that refurb.
Oh, well, good thing I didn't bother to save a affiliate link for that. So So yeah, that's kind of the genesis story, the origin of why I'm going into Linux, why so many other people do. And then the one thing that's kind of kept me from going down to Linux is I'm not that tech savvy anymore. I mean, when I was a kid, I could keep up with the trends and stuff, but now I'm turning into the old man who I'm not at the point where I have to hand my cell phone to one of my nieces to get something to work for me yet, but that day's coming. Um, so I recruited Norm to help me out, and boy, I think I've had conversations with a few people here in the chat. I know Chris for sure. We talked about it. Um, the actual so I got the thumb drive here, my little Linux Mint thumb drive. Norm helped me get this set up. Downloading the Linux file and then running it through some app that you need to make it work so that you can boot your computer off it. Norm, you want to tell them what the technical terms are for that?
Yeah, so you download an ISO file, and then we use Boolean Etcher to create a bootable media. So that's pretty standard.
Mm-hmm.
And we threw it on your really slow USB 2.0 thumb drive.
Yes,
which worked out fine.
Yeah, it just took a while
to
transfer all those files. It was just one that I just grabbed. And that was been that right there was probably the biggest stumbling block for me and what's kept me from getting into Linux or Raspberry Pis for years now is because whenever I watch an install video, they say, all right, we already assumed that you did this and this and you flashed that and you transpose this. And I'm like, I don't know what you're doing. And then when I watch the videos where they do some of those steps, I get lost. I just my ADD is like I can't keep up. I don't want just I can download a file, just download it onto this, and I plug it in, and it just goes. And as we found out, there's multiple steps to get this USB set up.
Yeah, because the ThinkPad factory setup with Windows did not really want you to boot from USB.
No, it's
So we had to figure out how to get in the BIOS. Enable once we got into BIOS, disabling fast boot helped us out because we got a little bit more time to push the buttons to get back in and out of BIOS. And so we set up the USB drive as a bootable in the boot list, and that took a good 15 minutes hitting F1 over and over again.
It felt like hours. And to be honest, my patience is not there for that kind of stuff. And if Norm wasn't helping me out, I would have said, F it, I'm done. And just stop. So thank you very much, Norm, for being my support sponsor on Linux to get going.
And then once we got USB as bootable, we had to go into the boot menu to select the USB. So that was another while clicking F12, I believe.
Yeah.
Yes.
Try to get it.
Real ports are really handy.
Yeah.
DDR5 RAM, yeah, I know.
Oh, that's crazy.
I got a 64 gig year and a half ago. Maybe it's 2 years now. For under $200, and yeah, that's worth its weight in gold now.
Oh yeah, it's insane. So that's basically it. I think to install the time we were online, I think we met up in Zoom or Discord, or no, I think we met up here on StreamYard. That session to download Linux and convert it into a bootable file and put it onto the flash drive and get it installed. It was about 2 hours. Now, granted, at least a half hour of that was just us BSing and talking, but I would say, you say 15 minutes. I'd say it was at least a half
No,
hour.
we had you had it installing within an hour.
Yeah.
It was we started at like 7. I think we started at 6:30 BS for a half hour. And yeah, it was around 8 o'clock where you had it installing. So
Yeah.
it seemed longer for you because you were actually doing it.
Oh, that
And I was just
laughing.
observer. Yeah. I was
Yeah,
just
that
auditing.
oh, I guess it feels like when you're out doing the parks on the air and you're calling CQ and you don't hear anything and you feel like, man, I've been calling CQ for a half hour, and you look at your watch, it's been 3 minutes. It's probably like that kind of a effect too, where I was constantly, oh, we missed it, turn it off, turn it back on. It felt like it took at least a half hour to get that thing to catch, but then, the actual install, most of you know, you just follow the instructions. It goes through pretty quick.
Mhm.
Um, so that was step one, is just get Linux on. But
And you picked when you were gonna go with Ubuntu, but you saw a few people that you knew had Linux Mint, so you just said, "Hey, I'm gonna try that one."
yeah, I really didn't have any preference.
Mhm.
Because where I was getting at is there's a few scripts or ham radio related apps out there that interest me. The one script is from Jason Cam for ACK, where he has the 76 or 73 Linux, which he prefers or suggested you use Mint. And that's just like your general a script that will download all your or several of the more popular ham radio applications and softwares for you. And then the other thing I wanted to try, especially for my field one, is from the Tech Prepper, is ecom tools, which I think, and I haven't messed with that yet. I believe it's more than just a script that downloads things. He has his own kind of operating system, or more of a GUI type thing, where he kind of, a lot of those ham radio apps run in the background, and he runs that on Ubuntu. And up until our conversation earlier this month, no, last month, sorry, March, in the beginning of February, we're talking, and I asked you, I hear Linux, I hear Ubuntu, I hear Mint, I hear uh, something else. I can't remember, Zebra or something. And you explained to me that what Mint and Ubuntu are just different flavors. It's the same Linux guts, but just your interface is a little different. You're saying like Mint's more like Windows and Ubuntu's more like Apple OS.
As from the outside looks, it's simplifying a little bit, but yeah, they're different. But Mint is based off of Ubuntu. You can think of it that way. And from from the standpoint of you just looking at it,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I think to me Ubuntu looks more like Apple OS, and Linux Mint looks like Windows did when it was cool
Mm-hmm.
back before Windows 10.
Sure. Yeah. And Tom's pointing out that MCOM tools is a lot more involved. You have to build your own image. So, and just doing a little research I did, I knew that MCOM tools was more involved. So, I watched a few videos before where people did the install using Jason's 73 Linux. So I figured that was something that I could handle. And I shared some pictures on X and in some Discord forums. Norm, I didn't even give you a call. I did it all on my own. I ran Jason's script.
Yeah, you just open terminal, type it in,
Yeah.
or copy. Don't even have to type it in. Copy
Yep.
and paste it.
Yeah. Yeah. It was awesome. It was what I wish installing Linux was like, is something that a nerd like me that isn't so tech savvy could easily do. Like you said, you just open up the terminal window and copy paste and just stand back and watch all the literally goop go by and all the software or apps were installed. So that was pretty cool.
It popped up with a window that asked you what you wanted to install, correct?
Yes.
Which I
Yes.
think is a really nice thing of 73 Linux. It just doesn't install everything there is to know.
Right. Right. And there isn't that. I don't know how to describe it. I wish I had. Next time we do a stream, I'm gonna try to do a stream from that computer that I have sitting here, so we can go through this stuff. Maybe that'd be like next month's thing. Yep, Chris, I'm right there with you, bud. It was nice, but yeah. To your point, when you copy and paste the commands into Linux and hit go, and it will ask you your ham radio call sign and then a password you have for WinLink and then when it installs all the different ham softwares, the stuff that requires your call sign and stuff is already right in there.
Yeah, it allows you to keep your machine lean if you want to. So your computer has what? Did it have a half a gig or a quarter gig of storage on it?
I don't remember. I didn't know I was going to be quizzed on what my computer has.
I thought you said 256 gigabytes, maybe, or 512. Either way, that's that's huge for a Linux machine.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
I ran it on 64 gigabytes, no problem. Then you probably even go down lower.
Yeah, I think I have 512 now that I think about it. I can't remember. As you can tell, I don't keep up on that kind of stuff. So where was I going there? Yeah. When you said, when you run that script, you type in your call sign and a password if you have for a WinLink, if you have WinLink. And then it pops up with the list of here's all the ham radio apps that we're going to install. Check the ones that you want. And I'll tell you, 3/4 of them, I don't have any idea what they were, or I didn't have any interest in them. But I download them anyways since I was there. You know what I mean? It's like I may not, because that's the one thing with the ham radio hobby. There's so many facets and different avenues to go down. A lot of that stuff may not be anything that I'm interested in now, but who's to say I won't be 3 months, 3 years, 30 years from now? So download it doesn't take up that much space. Like you said, I got tons of room on that computer, so
yeah,
it's there. All right, so that's me rambling on why I'm going to Linux, and all your Linux users here are going, duh, you should have done that years ago. And yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Norm, what do you have any good Linux stories? What got you into it? What do you like about it? What do you don't?
Well, I've been a Raspberry Pi fan for years, so I've been playing around with those. But what got me into like Linux Mint and trying out Debian, Ubuntu, and a bunch of other different Linux OSs is that I had a 2018 HP desktop. That's what is it? I think it's a Gen 6 i5. And it wasn't Windows 11 compatible. So I couldn't, so only certain Intel chips you could upgrade to Windows 11, or you'd have to buy a whole new computer because they want you to buy a new computer apparently. And so I said, hey, this computer's great. It's doing everything I need it, and it's still running fine. So a couple years ago, when I saw this was this computer was getting obsoleted by Windows, I said, oh, I'll get another a new desktop, which I would like to have one anyways, because I was starting to get into editing 4K video and such, and my old computer just couldn't handle 4K. It was doing um, high def just fine, but 4K it was super struggling. So I got a awesome new computer and put this one to the side and said, I'm going to uninstall Windows and put Linux on it. So I tried a whole bunch of different flavors of Linux.
Okay.
And the fun thing about it is you just stick a like you said, you just stick a thumb drive in it. You can even test drive, like when you first put the USB drive in and you boot to it, you can kind of test drive the OS without actually installing it.
Sure.
And I just like the way it looked, seemed familiar. Nothing beyond that, and that's why I installed that one.
Okay. So that
and so yeah, this computer is it's a beast on Linux, and I've got a terabyte of I've got 16 gigabytes of memory on this, which I use about 2 gigabytes nominally running Linux. And even this 2018 desktop is overkill for Linux, but it's nice having it.
Yeah.
And then I started trying out new things, and especially SDR. Let's get back to radios for a second. Using those little RTL SDR sticks, way easier on Linux than Windows. Because on Windows, I'd have to download drivers, like those, and I'd have to download drivers, make sure those are working, and then some of the SDR tuner programs were unstable, but on Linux it just worked.
Okay.
So I think Linux is great if you're into SDR.
I'm not yet, but as I kind of hinted there, after the conversations I had earlier with Norm, I'm going to be getting into SDR. Try to do some stuff with that. And Chris thinks he made a good point. Norm's smart. I like having him on.
I don't know about that, but
all right. So
I have messed up enough that I know a thing or two.
So Norm, my whole big goal is I want this Linux machine here, that dedicating the ham radio. The three things I really want to get more into, using digital modes are.
Did you say you had a table or something to put up? Or you should have. You said you should have made a table to put up of all your goals.
Oh yeah, I got it written down somewhere, but
okay.
I didn't put a presentation together like I should have.
All right, I have my notes up, so I can help remind you what's on your goal list.
But both in the shack and in the field, I want to do more digital modes. Mostly I'm just doing single sideband voice, which is a lot of fun. But on the practical preparedness side, digital modes are where it shines. We've been talking about the Tech Prepper and Julian from Survival Tech Nord. You see a lot of digital modes for them, and others too. I just singled those two out. And there's definitely advantages. The biggest advantage that I can't say it's the biggest advantage, but there's several advantages. One is the ability to have asynchronous communications, meaning that if I need to be talking to Norm and we don't, one of us is grid down or one's remote and doing stuff, it's hard to coordinate that. Hey, Norm, get on this frequency in 20 minutes and talk to me without talking to you first. And if we're going to do everything by voice and in real person, we have to have a schedule. We have to be at the radio at the same time. I know a lot of times people will have a plan where, at the top of the hour or every 15 minutes. Norm, you can probably show one of your ship clocks where there's times designated, like uh, at, starting at the top of the hour for 5 minutes, you listen and that kind of stuff. Um, so that gets complicated because it's, especially if it's an emergency situation, you could be doing stuff during your scheduled talk times, whether it's clearing down power or down trees with your chainsaw, or going out and collecting water, or if you're out in the woods, gathering firewood or something like that. So with the digital modes, you can treat them just like, well, with WinLink, literally email or text messaging, where I could be at my station and try to contact Norm at our scheduled time, but he's not there, but I can still send him the message. And when Norm gets back, that message is there and he can reply to me. So that's a big plus with digital communications. WinLink, APRS, and JS8 call are the ones that I think fill that bill very well and have some flexibility in between them. And then also with those modes, you can get your signal out far and reliably with less power, so that can conserve your batteries. And they're less susceptible to not the best reception as far as receive quality. There can be a high noise level and those signals will still get through, is what I'm thinking. Does that all make sense to you, Norm?
Yeah. Tom's talking to Kyle, asking, Kyle, you're home or camping? I don't know, he was in Cairo last video. I don't know how the ladies posted those, but Cairo's pretty near home.
He's always somewhere, isn't he?
Yeah. He's a rambling man.
I know it. He must have like 8 weeks of vacation, because every time I look, he's somewhere, like far away from his home. He's always on the road. So what were we talking about, Kyle? So yeah, that's my whole grand plan, is to get familiar and fluent with more of these digital modes that will allow me a little more flexibility. And they just seem like fun too.
Oh yeah.
It all doesn't have to be doom and gloom prepper stuff.
I'm a big fan of PSK31 and I operate that quite a bit. And I've done a couple potos on PSK31, and a lot of times I don't hit 10 just on PSK31, but it's more like an AOL instant messenger type chat where you're just typing in, and it's called 31 because it's PSK at 31 words a minute, which is kind of how fast how fast the typer can type, a normal typer. So you can keep up with it, or you can go faster. But yeah, you're just typing in chat and it's just scrolling across the other guy's screen.
Okay.
And
now that's in real time, or can it be?
No, that's a real time one.
Okay,
So that's after you arrange a QSO.
Okay, so if I send you a message on that, it'll just
go into the ether. Yeah.
Right.
Unless I'm there looking for it.
Right. Okay. I I remember. I can't remember if it was at Huntsville or if it was at Iowa when
It
you
was
were.
in Iowa. I was doing that.
Yeah, yeah. I remember seeing you do that, and then ready. That's always a good mode too. I don't know much about that either.
It's a little bit of the same, but a bit older. And PSK was the hit. It was a hit like FT8 is now, but it was a hit in like 2001. Came out, it's
Okay,
like, oh, I can send text across the country, low power, 30 watts, you know.
right.
So it doesn't take much to get your PSK signal out. So that's a good digital mode. Ready's always fun.
And then there's FL Digi that I've heard about too. Is that?
FL Digi is a program that you probably downloaded with 73 Linux.
Yep, I saw it go through.
You hook when you interface your computer with your radio, and you can do all sorts of digital modes.
Mm-hmm.
You can do RIDI, you can do PSK 31, you can do PSK. There's a whole bunch of different PSKs,
Yeah, I
and
seen that.
yeah, and you can do Olivia is another digital mode. Some are faster, some are slower, but you can just play around with them.
Hmm.
And you hop around the digital frequency that the PSK folks kind of hang around with and all those guys are using FL Digi. And so if they see another type of signal, because FL Digi will give you a waterfall, and after a while you can see a signal, digital signal, you can kind of say, hey, I know what that kind of signal is. Switch your FL Digi program to read that type of signal,
Oh,
and then like just start chatting, because people just start calling CQ on random digital modes because they've never used it before.
sure.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
Okay, I have to check that out.
Yeah.
So we kind of went away from Linux, but that was I
Well,
said everything.
it's going to be a program
Yep.
that um
Well, I said everything I knew about Linux, which took about 5 minutes. So I'm glad you're here.
yeah, Tech Dave already left.
Yeah, he got bored.
Yeah.
He's like, oh.
He has 200K subscribers.
Well, he looked in and saw all everyone else had like ham radio call signs in their avatar. So he's like, oh, I'm surrounded by
Yeah.
dorks. I
These
gotta get
guys
out
are
of here.
weird.
These guys are weird.
He's like, these guys are weird even for Linux.
Exactly. Well, I had no idea he was like some type of.
Yeah, I looked him up.
He had like 200,000 subs.
No, he has 2K.
Oh, okay.
I misread that.
Okay.
He's just a guy.
Well, we got Kyle.
I'm just gonna imagine that we had huge YouTuber come in. What's his name? What's his name? The Bear or whatever? I don't know. Who's the biggest YouTuber?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I watch obscure stuff. Probably. Oh shit. What's his name?
That's what I know. We're thinking of the same guy. I was like,
no, we're not. I'm thinking Simon Whistler.
Oh, I thought the Beast. That's why I call him the Bear.
Okay. Okay. I was gonna say Simon Whistler, where the bald bearded British guy that has like 17 different YouTube channels where he just talks about a subject.
No.
Oh, like mega projects and geoplaces and histographic. Oh, he's got like, he literally has, I think he has like 17 different channels, and they all have like 300,000 or 400,000 subs to them. Side projects is another one. Oh, never mind.
But yeah, what we'll need to do next time is Yeah. Get our Linux computers online and stream from there. We can just add them as even. I could even add this one that I have now as a different user.
Hey, that might be the tagline for the shacking off present for Huntsville 2026. And only 5 people would get the joke because there's 5
Yeah.
people watching this. Oh, I love it. Yeah, for sure. That's what I want to do is some stuff on trying to figure out how to use some of these softwares that or apps that we downloaded here. Um, like I said before, my first goal is to get Yak going because I can see that being very useful for my area.
Mm-hmm.
Just like if a tornado comes through or a severe thunderstorm, to be able to have like a live action map and we can mark where roads are washed out or power lines are down or circle areas where there's no power, that kind of stuff. That'd be fun to, well, that wouldn't be fun, but it'd be fun to do like a mock-up of something like that to experiment with. And then with the JS8 call, I really want to get on that because I want to hop on to the GhostNet. You familiar with the GhostNet?
You've mentioned it before, but not really.
All right. Let me. This is something that I should probably not just talk about, but show.
All right.
And I thought I had like a graphic saved here. Bear with me. And I'm looking for it. I had them up. Here we go. Oh, we got saved. Look who just popped in.
Oh no, yeah.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. How you doing, Mike?
I'm doing good. All right, start from the beginning. What did I miss?
We basically just talked about how ever since I got into ham radio, I started talking about getting into Linux and Raspberry Pis. I just and as you can tell, I'm doing 3 things at once and all of them very poorly.
Like a typical ham.
Yes. That's a good segue. I literally just had the dang thing in my hand. Where did it go?
Not gonna say that's what she said.
So I had some Raspberry Pis that I've been meaning to, we've all watched, especially like in 2019 when I got into this, and then obviously into the COVID era. Watching guys like Jason KM4 ACK and Julian from Survival Tech Nord and the Tech Prepper running around doing cool stuff out in the desert or the frozen tundra with a little Raspberry Pi. And it's like, oh, I gotta do that. And I bought a couple of them. And of course they just sat in a box literally forever. And then now since that time, everybody's kind of evolved away from, these Raspberry Pis are cool and they're kind of fun to play with and they're useful around the shack, but they don't make really good devices for ham radio out in the field because everything is exposed and everything. They can fill up with dirt and grime with the wind. So we all went to laptops. So I got
Yeah, and
one
it's
of
not
those.
only just because they're exposed. You can get unexposed cases and such. But if you think about everything you need with the Raspberry Pi out in the field, you'll have to bring the Raspberry Pi. You'll have to bring your own screen.
Yep.
You'll have to bring your own power supply, which you'll need to do with the laptop anyway, unless you just use the internal battery, which can last a good while. So after you bring all that stuff, you've got something bigger than a laptop. You just got a box of stuff you're chucking into the field.
Yeah. Well, you're talking about sitting on a Raspberry Pi. So I got licensed in 2020 during the pandemic. Shout out to all the pandemic hams out there. But my club does giveaways at their meetings and for raffle tickets, and I won a Raspberry Pi 4. And it must have been like 2021. So they were still like partially unobtainium. and I've sat on it until now, and I've finally got everything I need, from the memory card to a case, a charger, or power supply, to put it together and do. I want to do a DigiPi, and I just got to get around to that in the next couple weeks, and I think I got to like solder. I have the Toads the Toads digital interface as well. And so I kind of want to do the Toads digital interface and then do the DigiPi. And then I have a ICOM mobile that has the DIN jack or whatever. It's got a data port on it. It's a 880H. And so I have everything except the time. Or I haven't put the time in like I should.
That's been their story. And yeah, I got 2 Raspberry 4 Pis and nice little cases I got in 2019, for pocket change. And yeah, during the peak of the COVID era, when they became unobtainium and I started getting more into ham radio, and I knew that I'm not tech savvy, I'm never going to do anything with this. And you start seeing the prices, I'm like, wow, I can like quadruple my money on this thing here. And then but the bubble burst. But yeah, we're going. I finally, just to kind of recap and bring everybody up to speed. This year I'm putting a lot more focus on getting some of these projects that I've started and haven't finished to actually finish, and putting a lot more focus into doing digital molds. I mean, I still have yet to make a contact on FT8. I haven't even done that. Yeah.
Oh wow.
I went out to the park one time and I had FT8 up and I never made a single contact. And I probably was doing something wrong. But yeah, the
number one, when that happens, it's your time.
Yeah.
That's a good call.
Probably. But yeah, to get through all this stuff, I want to go down the Linux route, because for the shack here, I picked up a refurbished ThinkPad off of Amazon at a pretty good price. That's going to become my dedicated ham shack computer.
Okay.
Instead of using my daily laptop that does everything.
Yeah, I think Shane got a really good deal on that, because it's a Lenovo ThinkPad. It's 2021 AMD processor, has 16 gigabytes of RAM and half a terabyte of storage.
You got a
and
ton.
Man, that's awesome for $300.
Yeah. I saw that, and I'm like, and it's hardly used. It's like
I was telling you, if you buy 16, try to buy 16 gigabytes of RAM now.
Oh yeah.
Granted, that's DDR4 and not DDR5, but we're not.
Okay, now you're talking nerd, and I can't.
You're buying RAM. You need a cosigner. It's like,
that was brought up earlier here
by Chris. Or was it Chris or someone? I had to take over.
Yeah.
Oh no, that was
Dave. Yeah,
that was Dave.
Yeah. So now, that's my goal is to get a nice ham radio focus. I think someone else said ham top set up here, and start messing with the digital modes. My focus on WinLink, APRS, JS8 call. I really want to get into that, and that's kind of when you popped in. And I was telling, I was just finding this document when you hopped in. Have you heard of the GhostNet before, Mike?
I have. I haven't done a lot with JS8 call.
Okay.
I've done it a couple times during Winter Field Day, which I jokingly will refer to as JS8 Call Appreciation Weekend.
Sure.
But it's I have, and I think I have that document.
Mhm.
It's something I definitely would like to try out and do more. My challenge is still 5 years in. I don't have a permanent station set up at the house, and so everything I do is portable.
Right. Right. Yeah, and I know Tango Oscar Mike's familiar with this, but this is
Mhm.
set up by there's a YouTuber called S2 Underground. And he does a lot of prepper type stuff, or used to do a lot of prepper type stuff, long form videos. As kind of like on a signal intelligence level type stuff. He did a lot of he has some, I'll just say he has some pretty interesting videos that I binge watched. Now he's one of your YouTube open source intelligence analysis type guys, where he does a daily update on what's going on in the world, and in a pretty straightforward, unbiased, or slightly biased at least, format, where you, because what's going on over in the Middle East right now, he's providing a lot of interesting detail. It's definitely worth checking out. I find him very informative. But uh, in the preparedness type of thing, he's started this thing called the GhostNet, which is a way to share news and information uh, without the internet and everything, because he's a bit of a prepper. And what he's done is he's chosen JS8 call to be the free the mode that everybody shares. So he has a scheduled time at obviously not on the default frequency for GSA call, to have a net where people just kind of spew in any
Yeah.
regional news or information that they have. And it's kind of interesting. And he put together this manual, and if you have a group, whether it's a prepper group or just your family and friends and stuff, and you want to put together a communications plan, this would be a very good starter to just download and look through, and you can probably glean out a few good ideas. Like, here's your basic home plan, setting up a rally point, uh, and contact lists, and so on and so forth. Where here's your trusted contacts, call sign, name, a challenge response type thing. Like for who goes there type things from the Army. But yeah, he has a weekly net that meets on 40 meters. I go through a lot of useful information here. But yeah, he has the times where it's going to be, and and uh, and I think he has some windows where he tries to match the gray line and stuff, so that we can have uh, not just regional comms, but cross continental comms and everything like that, and some bridges. So it's kind of an
Okay.
interesting format. So yeah, on Thursday nights, uh, on 40 meters is where the GhostNet pops up on. Then he also has times where we want to do a WinLink peer to peer, and then ready. So
That's good. That's something I need to do more of, is the peer to peer for WinLink. I've only done that a few times.
yeah, I've never done that either. So maybe we can give that a go once I get this thing going.
I think we said that we need to do that.
Yeah.
Recently. Yeah.
Yeah, when we do the when you're doing your work band Wednesdays park activations, maybe we can do a JS8 call or a wind link peer to peer on 30 meters.
Yeah, I think I think one of the last times I was out early in the morning, I was getting Wisconsin on 30.
So we're jumping all over the place tonight, but this is, if you're not familiar with GhostNet, it's something you might want to check out. There's a couple of videos on S2 Underground's YouTube channel that kind of goes over it. And yeah, for sure, if you just want a quick update on events going on both in the U.S. and around the world, he does basically a daily wire every day, just a short 2, 3, 5 minute video that kind of highlights what's going on. It's pretty cool. And he does like a weekly update too at the end.
I just subscribed.
Oh,
So I don't know. You've probably studied that. What do you call it? A manual. That little guide that you were just showing.
I haven't looked at. To be honest, I have. I studied up on it when I first downloaded, but I haven't looked at it in a very long time.
A lot of the pages seem to have a little bit too much information, and it's jam packed. But I think there are a lot of good ideas in there.
Yeah,
and I think if I were to hand this out to friends and family, I would simplify it a great deal. And
that's a good. Yeah, this is Death by PowerPoint 101. You want to put as much information you can on a slide, but then you get overload.
But he's also talking about folks that don't have any idea of any of these systems.
A lot of this stuff is the preamble. But yeah, if you're going to set something up, and that's a good topic, Norm, is to try to make it simple and straightforward. Because if you just give pages like this, and you go, here, read this and get caught up, if you're not into it, you're going to see this. And
if I'm giving that to my 72-year-old dad, he's gonna, even though he's a radio operator, he's gonna be like, "What the heck is this?"
Yeah.
But if I show him a
and if I give this to my 14-year-old, she's just going to roll her eyes and walk away.
Yeah.
But if you get, just smaller information. But I mean, when you get to here, I mean, this is the guts of it right here. When you figure,
and that's not bad. I think there's a little bit too much stuff at the bottom and top, but if you study this for the GhostNet, it's great.
Yep.
And for the GhostNet, which is a network they're building of people, this works for them. Friends and family, I think, that might be a good topic.
Yeah, for sure. You want to. It's like any other presentation or document. You want to have all the information there and in the smallest package as possible, but yet to get that small and that much information, now you got like a legal document where it's just blah. So you got to find that balance.
Yeah.
I think what I would do in a situation like that would be like, here's your easy setup instructions and here's your actual manual like you get for an appliance or a radio or something like that. You get the 3-sheet thing that gets you up and running, and then if you want to know all the deep menu, here this is.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
But I do like the spiral bound and laminated. Where do they do that?
Where is it? Dang it, I just saw it. Yeah, I have not to brag, but let me embiggen myself. I've put together my own little manual, and it's the get the light here, the 6-ring binder type thing with the Right in the Rain paper, and it's different stuff like that that's put out. Still a work in progress. I got some. I bought. I can't remember where I even got this from, but I got a bunch of information in it, and I got to work on it and make it a little better. But that's along the lines of what I would recommend is to have some type of, like I said, some type of a binder that's easy to keep, so you can add to it and take out. Even just a big A-size 3-ring binder would be ideal.
Very cool.
Mike, I didn't turn the radio on Saturday or Sunday, but from March 2nd until tonight, I have called out on 146.520 11 times now. I'd make a point to call it a couple times each time on my way to work and the way back.
Nice.
Kind of inspired by what you're talking about. And Tom's got a similar guide as me. Cool.
Very cool.
Yeah, in fact, Tom was the one that I got the recommendation to get that binder from. I think it's by Battleboard. But I digress. Because one of the reasons I asked you to come on here tonight is you got a new challenge for the Masters of Ham Radio.
Yeah, and it's so calling it 5-2 Simplex Challenge, keeping it simple. Yeah, no, binder's full of women. So this is something that I got the idea for back in the fall or so, but like a typical ham, I totally overthought this. Like like this is a good idea, I think, but how do I do this? Should I quietly do this on my own and then do a video after and then kind of throw it out to other people, or should I do this all together, and should I time it with certain things like a VHF contest or times when there's lots of activity? And I totally overthought this for months. And it was just last week, I kind of, confluence of events and things happening just kind of pushed me to the point where I was like, you know what? I'm going to do this now. Why wait any longer? And, I noticed, I think I did a YouTube short a couple weeks ago. I've made I had made in the beginning of February 10 contacts on 5.2 on the way in or back home from work. And half of those people were calling out. It wasn't me. Now, of those 10 contacts, it was probably 4 different people.
Right.
But 2 people have been very active locally in different towns on 5.2, and I kind of was like, wow, what's in the water? This is different. I don't recall this. Or I've never noticed this before. And it's like one of the things that kind of just motivate me. You know what, let's do this. And what I'm trying to do is just get people to call out on 5.2 for 52 days over the course of the next 2 months. I rushed. I recorded the video on Friday, and I think I put it out like Friday night or Saturday and started the challenge on Sunday, March 1st, because we all know that when there's deadlines or quotas or things like that motivate us, they kind of provide that urgency. Like, okay, I need to do this. I can't wait, because look at me. I waited months just thinking like, oh, I'll get around to it. I'll figure this out,
Yep.
And so I kind of wanted to introduce that urgency, or have this artificial deadline to just get us off our butts and key up and call out. because ultimately I think anytime I bring this up, and I know I'm in with VHF, it's all local, right? It depends on your community or where you're traveling, what kind of activity you're going to find. But anytime I talk about VHF, which is often, people are like, I wish there was more 2-meter simplex. I wish there was more people calling out. And so that's what I'm trying to do, because it takes two. You have to listen, obviously. And a lot of us will have our radios, the A bands on a repeater, the B bands on 5.2 or whatever. But we're listening, but we're not necessarily calling out. And then there's, a lot of us still make efforts here and there when we're doing a soda or we're on a road trip going out to a ham fest or something like that. We'll call out. But what the other thing, in addition to introducing some new, more activity, I want us to try to maybe change some habits. Come up with some new or some better habits. And the one I pointed to recently, I switched my A and my B band. So I got 5.2 on top, repeater on the bottom. So it's easier for me when I get in the car to just push the mic and key up. I don't got to worry about looking for another button when I'm driving to switch, because at least for the next 2 months, my priority is going to be 2 meters.
Mm-hmm.
And everything. And so there's little things like that, or maybe carrying an HT around when you normally wouldn't, grabbing a bow fang, because we all have fangs on the shelves and the HTs or radios we're not using, throw it in the work bag or something, and then go, weather's getting nicer, even if you're in Wisconsin or New York. Like, I think we hit 50 today. It was like, wow, go for a walk. And on your lunch break, or bring the dog or something, and call out on your HT. Mm-hmm. There's nothing wrong with trying and not getting a contact, but when you get those contacts, they're genuine. That it doesn't happen often, and you smile, like you enjoy it. It's fun, and the person that makes the contact with you is having the same reaction too. 9 times out of 10, they're like, "Oh, cool, someone's coming back to me."
And that's, I think you hit it right on the head, where we just got to change our patterns a little bit and adjust our habits. I think most hams that have a 2-meter radio in their vehicle, they have 2 VFOs. And like you said, that they'll have one on 5.2 and one on their favorite repeater, or they're scanning through or whatever.
Yeah.
And whether it's simplex or the repeaters, you hear people going, yeah, 2 meters is dead. The repeaters are dead. I drive half hour every day to and from work, and I never hear anything on the repeater. Well, did you call out on that repeater? Because chances are there's other people who are doing the same thing. I drive around all day, nobody's talking on this repeater. Well, you just need to be that voice, like you're saying, and be that catalyst to get on there and strike up a conversation and put a little life into it. If half the hams that complain that nobody does this actually did it, people would do it.
Yep. I got in the car today, in the garage, turned it on, and there was 2 people having a QSO on 5.2. I was like, holy I mean, as soon as I turned the car on, there's people chatting, and and I got down the road and I was able to, make some contacts after they wrapped up. But how many times does that happen? Like you get it, the radio right out of the gate has 2 people, talk. It blew my mind. It made my day, and they did not know about this either. That's the other thing too. Like that, they weren't doing it because of that. One of them was one of the, repeat offenders on 5.2. Like he calls out and he's active, here and there. And so that's good. And like, that's what I would like to get to, is where, you're on 5.2 and it's not that big of a surprise to hear activity all of a sudden. You want to change that misconception. And all it takes is us to just, you just got to click a button, because we know there's hams listening. They are. And stuff. And then for the newer hams that might have a little mic fright, the new technicians, they can all play on 2-meter FM. That's no problem. Like they're going to have an HT or maybe a mobile that they can work and get some really unique contacts on 146.52, and I think that's something that might be important for some of these new technicians, because they're going to get some good experience. They're going to learn about propagation. They're going to learn about their new systems and their new setups, whether it's at the a base station or a mobile or whatever. They're going to understand the importance of antennas and line of sight, and that's useful. We want that.
And it's also good not only for the new hams, but the ham curious too. The guys and gals out there that get the bug and they have a little interest, and they go and they buy the inexpensive Baofeng. They take it home and they, do a little research, and they program the area repeaters on, and they turn it on and they have it sitting on their kitchen table for 3 days and never hear anything. They're like, why would I bother wasting my time studying to get a tech license when there's nobody to talk to? And over the shoulder it goes. So I think that would be encouraging non-hams to get into the hobby if they actually hear people in the hobby enjoying it and making use of it.
So again, Mike, what's your challenge called?
The 5.2 Simplex Challenge.
All right. Where can you learn more about it? On your channel?
Yeah, you can go to my channel. I got a video on it. I think a post on it just made the front page on QRZ. So, but not that I want to send everyone to QRZ, but yeah, just go to my channel, Mike N2MAK, and and you'll see a quick video. Like I said, I made this simple. 52 days on 5.2, just calling out, not a competition, or anything. Do with it what you want. I know, my buddy Eric N1JUR up in New Hampshire, he's making a point to do 10 minutes each of the 52 days, and cool. That's one thing that you can do. Set a timer and just go. But there's no logs. There's nothing to submit, nothing to keep track of. This is on you, and this is on people. If you want to try to get some activity going, you want to learn what your station can do, then just call out, and see. RF around and find out, like I say. That's, at the end of the day, that's what this is all about.
I do like how your challenge coincides with my Simplex challenge, the 5.2 Angry OM challenge, where I just get on there and go, please keep the frequency clear for emergencies.
Yeah. I think you're going to get people will. I've heard it's not like that where I am. I've done plenty of POTAs.
No, I've never heard that either.
But I've heard that in some regions, as I kick my whiskey here, that some regions, that it can be they can be particular about that. But at the end of the day,
you just move 5 up, 5 down.
You can QSY easily. And at the same time too, you just leave a break when you're doing simplex contacts, and people do this on repeaters too. They pause for an extra second in between transmissions to see if there's anyone else that wants to jump in. So yeah, I think that there's nothing wrong with it. There's always going to be people that are jack wagons and don't like what you're doing here or there or stuff. I did a POT on 17 meters after work, and I was waiting for somebody to jump in and be like, there's no contesting on the work bands or whatever, because that happens every so often. It's like, oh my gosh. But yeah, no, at least it's being used.
I know. Yeah, if not, it's just going to sit there unused, and you're actually going to get more people using them for emergencies if they know people are listening.
Yeah.
And communicating on that channel or around that frequency.
Exactly.
And Izzle brings that up too. And I like to remind people it's not channel 16 on the Marine band, which is hailing only. It's a little different. You won't have the Coast Guard get on there saying move your conversation off. is free. So I brought up, this is the first time I've been on QRZ website for decades.
Oh, yeah. Hey, there's a cat.
And they changed the format because when it popped up, I thought everything on here was an ad. Much like, I'm like, holy crap. But yeah, here we go. You got, oh, let's go back. What was it? 259 views and 17 comments.
Yeah.
I wonder how many of them are angry.
No, they're pretty much positive because I've been going in and replying to each one I get, you know, and I want this to happen. I wanted it to get on the front page. Because when I did a 6 meter FM activity day last year on May 25th, that got thousands of views on QRZ. And
this guy looks like a serial killer.
Yeah.
Kid and Eric, you're a great guy. But
yeah. So I think you read those, like, I think genuinely people want to see more activity on it. They do, you know. And it's not a bad thing. And if we change some of those habits, then you know, and we learn what our stations are capable of, I'm sure there's going to be a tech out there that's trying this. And he's got his Baofeng in the car, and he's got, you know, a mag mount or a window pass through or something. And he's just using an HT from the car like I did for a couple of years. And then he's like, you know what? I want to put a mobile in. I want to put a, you know, a 50 watt or a 20 watt mobile in the car. And that's a good thing. You know, people are going to learn and they're going to make improvements. You know, it might encourage some folks that they have, you know, compromised antennas or don't have the best setup for VHF, UHF at their QTH. And maybe they're like, you know what? No, I'm going to invest in a better antenna for 270 and put something better up, you know, so cause there's more than just the repeaters.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And I know one club I associated with, they started doing after the weekly net on the repeater, they started doing the net again on simplex. They had a club designated frequency, and there's a lot of people that were reluctant to do that because it's something new and something different. And right away it was, well, I can't hear anybody and all that stuff. But then we changed the format to where we'd do the simplex net before the repeater net, and that started getting people interested because we get under and saying, you know, hey Joe, I heard you. I heard you down in the noise. You're about 30 miles away from me. That's pretty good. And then afterwards, people would come in and go, how did you hear Joe? I'm closer to Joe than you are, and I couldn't hear him. And what do you mean in the noise? I'm like, did you have your squelch on? Yeah. Well, you gotta turn your squelch off. And it was, and this was not like some rookie. This was a well-seasoned hand that did a lot of HF. And then he's like, there's like a light bulb that went off, and he's like, yeah, all these years I have the squelch up because I'm just talking on repeaters. He goes, I didn't even think about that if I want to make a simplex contact over distance, I should probably take the squelch off and put up a little static and pull that voice out of the void like I do on HF. And then all of a sudden more and more people started doing it. It was kind of cool.
Yeah. Yeah, and you mentioned the repeaters and stuff. Like one of the things, as I said, when I did the, you know, like the 2-minute video to kind of kick this off, is I was giving people like some, there's opportunities, you know, these are the habits that you can form. You know, I talked about, you know, calling out at the beginning or the end of a POTA activation, bringing in HT on a walk, you know, calling out on your commutes or your road trips. These are all really easy things. And like another thing to do, like if you're on a regular net, you know, there's 1 or 2 weekly nets I typically participate in, and just say, you know, after your turn, just say, hey, listen, I'll be listening on 5.2. If anyone wants to try simplex after the net, I'll be there.
Oh, that's a great idea.
And then just sit there and wait and see what happens. And it's a good way, like I said, to test your stations. learn about propagation and see what works or not. And like that's a simple thing to do. And you never know what's going to happen and stuff. And like, you know, Shane, you're saying like, oh, I can hear this person, but I can't hear that one. And it's good. We're all learning together. So, eventually at some point, I would love to get a 2-meter FM simplex net going in my region. We actually have, SSB nets on 2 meters and 6 meters every week.
Oh, really?
But that's because of like the, you know, the active VHF contesters, and they're wanting to do weak signal.
Sure.
But I think like a 2-meter FM net, even if it's a monthly thing, is something that could be. And I've watched a couple YouTube videos because these things do exist in certain places, and there's unique ways that you can run them. But something like that is something I think would be fun because it's something that can be beneficial to the new hams, the new techs that just got their first, whether it's an HT or if it's a base, you know, it's a mobile or something like that, they can do 2-meter FM easily. 2-meter sideband is tricky. There's a couple radios that'll do it that you can buy, but chances are the techs aren't going to have those, to be honest with you. So like this is that's something I'd like to get to. And it's a matter of like, I need to overthink it a little bit more and throw it out to my club and some others. But yeah.
Well, and another thing to piggyback your idea on the net to say, hey, afterwards, you're going to want to do simplex. Right away, when I started listening on the nets, I would, when somebody, you know, because somebody would check in and they go on for a minute or two, I would switch frequencies and listen in on the reverse, listen in on the input, and you get an idea of where you can go. And that might inspire too and say, hey, if anyone wants to make a contact on simplex, just so you know, I could hear Bill from my place, I could hear Susie from my place, and I think I could hear Tommy, but I'm not sure. Anyone want to try it? That might get more encouragement if people say, hey, there's actually a positive result already.
Yeah, that's good. And I got to make a note to do that because that's a feature that pretty much every radio has, but it seems like every radio does it differently as to what the shortcut might be to do the reverse.
Yeah.
And I need to actually make a point. I'm glad you said that. When I'm doing, you know, the 1 or 2 nets I do to you know, do different HTs and practice and learn what the reverse is. Yeah.
I have that function saved on the mic buttons on my Yaesu radios where you got the P1, 2, or 3 on the bottom. Both the radio behind me in my shack and then in my vehicles, I have that just to do that. Yeah. Izzo is right. 705 is such a great little radio.
Yeah.
That is I bought that for portable use, but it's been used behind me in the house more often than my 100-watt rig nowadays. I check into the QRP net on Sundays when I can remember, and it's kind of fun. But yeah, that 705 for the shack in the box, it's worth the hype in my mind. And with 10 watts for simplex 2 meters for locally, that'll be.
If you got a good antenna, that's going to be fine. Yeah. That'll be good. If you get something up above the roof line on a house, you know, just a simple J-pole, which isn't too big, and it's something everyone can make if they wanted to. That'll perform really, really well. And the nice thing about the
with like a arrow antenna for a single sideband, or both actually.
Yeah, I have the Elks, and you know, you can easily adjust the polarization and rotate it so it's horizontal or vertical and stuff. But yeah, no, just a good antenna in that. And the thing I was just about the 705 too is, and I know you're doing a lot with Linux now. You know, full confession, I'm a Mac guy, the Apple fanboy, like I'm an Icon fanboy. But there's some nice apps that I have on my iPhone, my iPad, and my Mac where I can, remote control the 705. I thought for a little bit, and I'm still thinking, like, when I do put something permanently in the house, there's a part of me that's like, just set up the 705 like in the corner somewhere.
Yeah.
And then I can easily control it and do everything from RIDI to FT8 to voice
It
with a
doesn't take up
phone or an
the space.
iPad or my Mac, and
Yep.
I don't even have to be sitting there.
Yep. Yeah, that's not
That's-
a bad route to go.
Yeah.
And then just unplug it and off to the park you go.
Yeah.
You don't need. Yeah. I'm more of an Apple guy. Obviously, with work, I work for a big corporation, so it's Windows because business runs on Windows.
Yep.
But I'm getting more and more interested in Linux.
Good.
We'll full circle to the original topic of tonight, and yeah, I just been messing around with Linux for a few days now, literally, and the Office type software that comes with it is, their version of Word and Excel and stuff. It's going to do the job for me, so that's kind of cool. So Mike, yep, Izzle's on par.
I was just typing to respond to him. I was going to say tape measure Yagi for the win. Like you can go to Harbor Freight and buy a tape measure and pretty much what you need to make one of those things for dirt cheap.
But you need 2 tape measures to make a tape measure Yagi, because you gotta have something to measure it out with, or else you're gonna
Oh, good point.
Yeah.
So go to Harbor
And
Freight.
radio tips with a Scout.
Yeah.
Oh, so back to Linux with you, Mike. You don't have a Linux laptop for ham radio?
No, I toyed with Linux a while ago.
Okay.
I want to say like this was probably like 15 plus years ago when I switched from Windows to Apple for the first time. And I had that old Windows machine and I was like, you know what? Let me do something with this to make it so it's usable. And I think I put Ubuntu on it and it worked good for a bit, but I don't have anything right now on Linux other than that Raspberry Pi that I'm going to do the DigiPi with.
Mm-hmm.
I've got my MacBook Air, which is like my personal computer. We use Windows at work. I got a Jankopotamus, one of the crap tops from what's that vendor?
Micro Center.
Yes. So I bought one of those for like $80 a few years ago.
Yeah.
And my rationale was I was paying, I think like, $80 to $100 for Parallels to run Windows on a Mac, because there's a couple things, software that was only Windows. And so I was like, if this lasts a year, it's going to pay for itself. And it's lasted. Now you get what you pay for it. You touch the keyboard. It's flimsy. It's cheap. It's slow, but for what I would use it for, doing FT8 or WinLink in the field, that's pretty much it. Or running like a old school legacy ICOM programming software thing. Like it does just fine. And, and it coined the term for me, Windows Update Wednesday, because I would only use it on Wednesdays when I do WinLink. So instead of WinLink Wednesday, it was Windows Update Wednesday. Because I'd fire this thing up and it'd be like, oh, there's all these freaking.
And that was in the very beginning of why I was looking at getting Linux, especially for a field computer. Just for that, where you go out for field day or a Parks on the Air, or if it's an actual emergency thing, you get everything set up, you pull it up, and all of a sudden you got Windows updates and stuff like that. But Chris, do it. I was going to say maybe you should change that.
Yeah, I think one of the things, if I remember, because that was a thought I had, right? And Because I remember the days of the netbooks. Like I had a netbook. I remember when my first son was born, so I was like 09. And one of these like Windows netbooks, right? And real small, real cheap, just like the Jankopotamus.
Yep.
I feel like KM4ACK or someone pointed out that with the Jankopotamus, I think it was something with there's a driver issue or something where or it might be something with the drivers or something hardware. I don't know. I'd be more than willing because I got a nice Dell hand-me-down laptop. I don't know what the specs are on it. It's a few years old. It was decommissioned at work, and another hand was like, "Here, run with it." And so I use that primarily when I'm doing portable stuff that's digital, whether it's WinLink or FT8 and everything. And I haven't touched the Jankopotamus much the last couple months since I got that other Windows laptop set up. But if I can make that the Evolve laptop into a Linux base, I'd be cool with that because I leave no band behind, leave no operating system behind, right?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, I'm just getting my feet wet with this, and
okay.
yeah, I highly recommend getting Linux on one of those rigs and running Smart Jason's script at 73 Linux. It's I went through and I should probably edit down the video of me trying to install Linux with Norm helping to just the parts where I'm ranting and raving and swearing like a madman. It'd be pretty
Yeah, that would be the best.
But
and me talking calmly because
yeah,
I don't have to do the work. I'm just telling you what to do.
Yeah, I got to the point where, after trying to trick the computer to read off the flash drive, which it doesn't want to do. After like the umpteenth failed attempt at that, I said, I'm going to throw this laptop. I'm going to throw this laptop through that wall. And I use quite a few extra expletives in that. And Norm just chuckles and goes, well, just try it again.
Yeah.
But anyway, getting the Linux is a pain, but that script that Jason has, I did it by myself without a single, not even a heavy sigh. It just copied and pasted his commands into the computer and hit enter, and away it went. It was flawless.
Cool. I'll do a little bit more homework now. That it's only been a few months since I've had that other Windows computer, and I kind of looked at that as like my reprieve from the Jankopotamus because that thing was slow. It worked, but like you get accustomed to just like opening up a laptop and ready to go in a second or two, and this and that, and like that was just.
The really only
back to the
people were
days where you
excited
turn it
about
on
it.
and you go and make a pot of coffee, take a shower, and come back, and it's almost ready.
The only reason people were excited about it is because it ran on 12 volts natively.
Yeah.
Which USB-C now has kind of overcome because you can get a multi-voltage USB-C hub and hook it up to your battery and get whatever voltage you need out from it. 5.5 USB, 12.5, 22.1, etc.
Yep.
Yeah, and you get and if you have the right cables or the right power banks, like you can get a nice power bank, like like Anchor or something like that'll power a 705 or a QRP radio plus your laptop or whatever, and it'll charge your phones. It'll do all these things. And it's a good multitasker for someone who operates portable, whether it's Hoda, Soda, or you just travel a lot like I do for work or family stuff, and it's just an easy thing that it's not just for ham radio. Like you can do some other stuff with it too, easily.
Oh yeah,
so,
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that might be a that might be your next challenge
It
after
might be. Yeah.
your 5-2 for 52 days.
Yeah.
I just love that idea. And
Thank you.
and the opening of your video when you say, "Are you up for a challenge or are you going to make an excuse?" I mean, that is that there, boys and girls, is a call to action, and you did it perfectly. That was
Thank
such a
you.
great intro. I love that. I watched that and I go, I'm not even sure what he's talking about yet, but I'm in.
That's what I wanted. That's what I wanted. And I'm so used to like out of habit, like, you know, like flashback to when I started my YouTube channel. I didn't even know what I was going to call my YouTube channel. It was still under like my full name, Mike Kenner Connect, right? You know, like, and nobody knows how to search for Kenner. You can't even spell Kenner Connect, right? And my last name. But I'm just going to start it. I'm not going to overthink this. And I realized in the beginning of my YouTube videos, I was like, hey, I'm Mike N2MAK. And so I'm like, all right, that's what I'm going to name my channel after, you know, I did a few videos because I just realized I'm saying I'm Mike N2MAK in the beginning. And there's kind of a habit when I start videos, like, it's like, hey, I'm Mike N2MAK, blah, blah, blah. But this one, like, I was a little bit more deliberate. And I'm like, no, I want to, like, this is going to be a short video. I will actually write this instead of just going out with the camera like I normally do and just kind of doing things naturally. I'm like, no, I'm going to be a little bit more deliberate because I want people to get sucked in and feel the need and the desire to take action, because we need to take action. Listening is good, but it's not going to do what we want to do. It's not enough.
Right. But yeah, I'm not just saying this because you're a friend of mine, but that opening line, I'm like, that is a call to action right up at front of the video. Call to action. And it was right to the point. I'm like, that's motivating right there.
Thank
That's
you.
awesome. That was great.
Hopefully it works. I'm noticing a difference here, you know, just a couple days in. And my biggest fear with this was that people are going to get discouraged.
Yeah.
And that people might, you know, call out for a week and they don't hear anything and they're like, you know, I get it.
Yep.
That's not necessarily fun. We want this to be fun, but it's going to be different for every single person based on what they're working with, where they are. You know, there's a quantitative term I use, ham density, right? You know, like with 2 meters, ham density matters. Like, if you don't have a lot of people, it's going to make a difference and stuff. So it's going to be different for everyone. I don't want anyone to get discouraged by this, but I realize that at the end of the day, I need to encourage more people to push the button and call out, you know, and do more than just listen if we want to see more activity. So,
yep, you got to do that. And, you know, it's Wednesday now. I called out twice on the way into work, 3 times on the way back, pretty much every day this week. And I have yet to hear anybody, but I'm going to keep on going because I was it last week or the week before? I did hear somebody talking on Simplex, so they're out there. So it's just a matter of me jumping in, and I kind of regret that because it was on my way home, and typically I have APRS on the B band, and I'm just scanning through a couple of repeaters and frequencies on my commute, and then if something pops up, I stop and listen in and talk. And during my commute on 5-2, loud and clear. I'm like, what the heck? And I stopped, and there's two hams talking. One got a new radio, so they hear him going, okay, I'm going to turn it up to 50 watts. Okay, I'm going to go down to 10, you know, and they're going through it. I'm hearing them both loud and clear, and I'm just listening to it and thinking this is pretty cool. And they went back and forth for about 5-10 minutes, and then they were gone. And I kept on driving, and then after about 15 minutes, I almost slammed on the brakes, going, "You idiot! You should have joined in, saying Yeah, a station that turned down to 5 watts. I don't know where you're at, but I'm on this location on Highway B, and you're coming in.
Yeah.
So, you know, given that input, I could have contributed. So, but being polite Midwestern is like, oh, gee, shucks, these guys are doing something. I don't want to interrupt them and be rude. But they probably would have thought it was great.
Yeah.
Yeah, they.
Thanks for hanging out with us, Tom. Appreciate it.
7-3 Tom.
So, yeah.
And it's a little bit different with simplex, and even if a ham is a little bit more experienced, or whatever, like there might be a little bit of shyness or mic fright
Mhm.
with 2-meter simplex, because if it's the repeater, if that you can get in, it doesn't matter where the other station is, the repeater's doing the work, right?
Right.
And if you can hear the repeater, you can get into the repeater, that you
Mhm.
can work anyone else that can hear the repeater and get into the repeater. But with simplex it's a little different. Like I said, I was pulling out of the garage and I heard the QSO. I could tell it was a QSO because I could hear one side, but I couldn't hear the other until I got down the road. And then the other stations started to come in a little bit better today. And that's how it is with simplex sometimes, just like it is if you play around on 10 meters a lot. 10 meters, whether you're doing POTA or whatever, as long as it's not digital, like on 10 meters, you might hear one side, you might hear that, the DX station calling out, but you don't hear everyone calling them, because of just the nature of propagation and stuff. And
Right.
so, you don't know, and I can see some hams, being a little reluctant, like, oh, I don't know if they can hear me, I can hear them, or this. You don't know unless you try. Just
Exactly.
push the button, give it a shot, and like you said, it's a lot similar to the QRP SSB net, where you're encouraging people to try different antennas, try to drop your power down, see what you can do, give people signal reports. Whether I'm participating in the net or if I'm watching online, like I'll post in the chat, like, okay, I'm hearing this station 5-7 in New York, in case they're watching the live stream, or they go back, they can at least see in the chat, like, okay, this person's here and I'm here. It becomes like whisper or whatnot. You can at least, get signal reports from people all across and get an idea of where the band's open or where you're getting with your setup. So yeah.
That's cool. Yeah. Like I was saying, I haven't made a contact yet, but I know my area, and I will most definitely make a contact here and there, but they're going to be few and far between. And I know that, but you got to start somewhere, right?
Yeah.
And when I do make a contact, I'm going to be making a point saying, yeah, it's, I've been neglecting this. Simplex is kind of fun. I'm going to keep at it. Tell your buddies to try it too, and and like we started talking earlier, how a lot of people just listen and complain that nobody's there. It's probably just a timing thing where if I just happen to be out when somebody else is out running errands or whatever, and they hear me call out, you get that connection, and then they start doing it, and it just kind of builds from there.
Yeah. And I'll say this too, like when you make some of those contacts, it's going to be special. It's going to be memorable. I know I kind of touched on that earlier. And one of the ones I always like to share is, I was at this park, Bear Hill, which if you go to the right spot, it's a soda as well. And I've done a lot of VHF contests from up there. About 1,600 feet up. It's a short hike. It's only a 1-point soda. I don't care about the points, but it's an opportunity to combine different things and then get some elevation. And I was already on the way back from the activation. I'm calling out on my HT with a signal stick, probably still up like 1,300 feet. And I got a contact. Guy came back. He just got his tech in the last week or two.
Oh, wow.
And he's like, you're my first contact on simplex. I've been on a couple nets, but I've never made a contact off the repeater. You're my first.
Ah, cool.
And you don't forget those. Whether you're the one making the contact, or you're on the other side of the radio. It doesn't matter. Like, and you realize, oh shoot, this is why we do this. This is why, who cares if I spend 2 minutes on my walk to my car after an activation calling out on my HT and I don't get anyone. Who cares? But when you get that person and you make that unique or rare contact, and it might be somebody, it might be a text first contact, that can go a long ways. And so like that, I'll never forget that contact. And, and where you are, Shane, and again, location matters, but if you happen to be in the Great Lakes areas or in the Gulf or on the coast where you get some of that tropospheric ducting, the first time I ever got ducting and I was hitting a repeater with an HT on the lake that was, as the crow flies, 80 something miles away, I was like, what is happening? Like, I thought I was doing something wrong. Like, and I was like, wait, this was on the test.
Yeah.
I think I studied this. Yeah. And, and oh my gosh, like when you do get the, that propagation and stuff, those phenomena, which occurs, regularly in certain parts of the country, it depends where you are.
Yep.
If you're by large bodies of water, like you'll get that. And it's amazing what you can do. And stuff. I've had QSOs over, simplex or repeaters that are 80 something miles away with just a 5-watt HT. It's crazy.
Yeah, we get that in the mid to late summer. We'll get that around here, and every once in a while you get. It'll be fun because we'll end up having an impromptu net because, like, one of the area repeaters here is on the same frequency and the same PL tones as a repeater in Michigan, and then like one in Iowa. And all of a sudden you start talking, you start hearing people on it, and you hop on and they hear you and they don't recognize the call signs. And then it dawns on, oh, the ducting's going on. What repeater are you on? It's pretty wild.
That's cool.
So Norm, you're in more of a populated area in the Gulf area of Texas. Do you have much for simplex going on in your area?
Oh yeah, and there's also like a local group here in the community, because I live in Houston, but I'm actually 30 miles from downtown. So, but in our local like neighborhood, there's a group that always is on simplex. They're called the 5-2 Club, and they have a little Facebook page, and we always you can always go on there and call up and get 5. There's always a couple of guys monitoring 5-2 pretty much all day.
Cool.
Good. And they'll always answer you. There's one guy, and he's probably about 20 miles away from me, and I was the first time I got on the net, I was just calling with a mobile mount stuck in the window when I was kind of setting up my shack 2019-ish. And I'm like, you sound great. He's like, you sound great. And he's like, you know why we sound great? He's like, because I've got a beam up. I have a 2-meter beam up 50 feet up. And it's flat as hell here. So he's like, yep, I'm pointing directly at you. He's like, I looked up your call sign. So I was like, that's nice. That's sweet.
That's fun.
But yeah, so we actually have groups around here that actively monitor and promote 5-2. And like you said before, but outside of here, the only time I hear 5-2 traffic is going to Hamfest and just calling every 15, 20 minutes, and you'll get some guy on there. And he's going to the Hamfest too.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. But I think that's should use it more.
Yeah, there's a lot. Texas is massive, but there's a lot of hams. There's a lot of active VHF stuff down there. I know you said you're in the Houston area. My sister's in North Texas and in the Fort Worth area and the DFW area. That they have 2-meter nets on FM and sideband and some other things that they try to organize and stuff. But you have that density, right?
Yeah.
You have that ham density where you have enough, folks to participate and everything else. But if you don't have that density, you can still try. You can still get active and call out. People are listening. We know that.
Yeah.
Because 9 out of 10 of us probably have it on 5.2 on the B band. If it's not 5.2, it's APRS, but like one of the two is on the B band and
Right.
and stuff. So if you can just get out there and make that noise, and hopefully someone will be on that other side and pick it up, and then you get two people talking. Hopefully others hear that and it generates some interest, like, oh geez, people are talking on 5.2. What's going on?
And
Yep,
what you need to do is keep it friendly so you can say, hey, anyone else out there?
Yes.
You can just
that's
say
a good
stuff like
point
that.
too. That's a good point. When
Instead of talking about,
Yeah.
whatever the stuff that is unlikable in your mind.
Yeah, and I hear that on
be
nets,
more positive.
or not nets. I hear that on the repeaters too. A couple of the repeaters, the two main ones in my area. I usually listen on my commute in and back, right? And you usually hear people pause after a couple minutes or something and say like, "Hey, anyone else want to jump in?" Or let's take a quick pause. And it's just courtesy and and stuff, and same courtesy you have on repeaters. You take a break to see if there's anyone else, or maybe if it's a connected repeater, if there's an Echo Link station or something else that wants to pop in or something. You do that on Simplex too.
Mm-hmm. Yep, all good ideas.
All right, Chris is reporting to someone else's videos. N1 GUR. I'm probably subscribed, but I'll have to check.
Yeah, Eric's one I mentioned earlier, who's doing 10 minutes a day, and he's recording it like on his work commutes and stuff. And he's just recording, he's making a point to do 10 minutes a day, calling out on 5.2, just trying and stuff. And he's gotten lucky, and he's gotten a couple so far. But he took what I threw out there and put his own spin on it. And like I said, I wanted to keep something simple. And if you want to do more with this, then there's so much more that you can do. Just take the ball and run with it. Whether you want to call out 10 minutes a day, or you want to try to challenge yourself to get so many contacts, whatever it takes, to have fun and push yourself to do more, maybe even get out of that comfort zone, do it.
Yeah.
But that's how we learn. And ultimately that's how we have fun.
Yep. My approach is probably going to vary throughout this challenge, but like I said, I started off by calling once or twice on my commute, and now I think I got to be a little more scientific, or a little more, or not more scientific, more bold with it, and not just call it once or twice, but call out more often, and maybe I guess I was right when I said scientific. Call out like more of the high points on the road where I'm at and stuff like that, like Crest Hills and stuff like that.
I'm learning. I'm seeing that happen firsthand.
Yep.
And it just has to do, like, if I could drive you through my commute, what I do, like, I start off and I go up real high, and then I take like a dip, and then I come back up on the high when I get on the highway. And you notice that with those simplex signals. You don't notice it as much with the repeater, but with simplex, you notice that.
Yeah, I got because on my commute, I go through some river valleys and old river bottoms and stuff like that. And there's times where I'm talking to people on the repeater, and I'll be like, "Oh, I'm coming up to the Wolf Lake Basin. I'll be back in about 15 seconds," because I know it's no bother talking because I'm going to go into a dead spot. And all right, I'm back. So I got to keep that in mind too. Like I said earlier, we all listen, and I just got to time it right where, I have an hour and 15-minute commute. I call it once or twice there's a lot of areas I'm missing where somebody has a 5-minute commute that I was radio silent and they were radio silent. So throwing the call out more often is I got a better chance of making more contacts.
Yeah.
You know, like we've been saying, everybody has a repeater on if they got a mobile rig in their car. Everybody either has APRS or 5.2 on the other band. Everybody complains that they never hear anything, but yet nobody throws their call out. So you just got to be that catalyst.
That's what we're trying to change, Traveling Ham.
Yep.
That's what we're trying to change. Yeah, one of the things, Shane, too, I'm just thinking about this now, which I'll pay attention on my commutes. I don't know if it's going to be a factor, but maybe it is for you or some others to keep in mind is foliage, right? And so we're at the change of the seasons now, especially in the north. We'll start to see leaves coming in on trees and stuff like that. When you get to VHF, UHF, it's more of a problem with UHF and above.
Yeah.
But the leaves and the tree, those things will attenuate signals. And so I've seen it happen, on the extremes when I do VHF contesting in January, the contacts I can make on 1.2 gigahertz or 900 megahertz, I've struggled with in June. Right. Because all the green. Yep. Yes. And when it first happened, I was like, why am I? And then I realized, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is the textbook stuff that you learn, when you're going for your tech, and I'm experiencing it. But that's one of those things people, maybe they're going to learn, as I'm learning my commutes, and where I've got the hills and the valleys and stuff, for the signals. Maybe some people are going to notice a difference a month from now if they're still doing this, with the signals and attenuation being a little bit more of a challenge as more of the leaves and the branches and all that come in. I don't know.
Yeah, that's that
interesting.
Yeah.
We'll have to see. All right, we're getting close to the next hour, and I gotta make water pretty soon. But thanks, Mike, for hopping on.
No problem.
Obviously, thank you for hopping on. We covered a lot of topics. We discussed how Linux is great for ham radio.
I like to call them hot topics.
Okay. Hot topics.
Hot topics.
I remember that store in the mall.
Yeah, this is where I got my Blink 182 shirt.
I think it's still there. I think there's still hot topics in malls if you can find them.
Oh my gosh.
You can still get a Blink 182 shirt.
Is that right by Spencer's and Cinnabon?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, I just derailed my outro. Thanks.
All right, sorry.
But we covered the topics, the hot topics. Linux is great for ham radio and a good way to refresh an older computer. I gotta get going on the digital modes. For sure, JS8 call. I'm really interested in that. I got up my game with WinLink. I sent Mike this weekend my first WinLink email in probably close to a year. So I'm glad that still works.
Yep, I sent you back. I don't know if you got it, but
yep, I got it. Yep. So
and it failed the first time I tried to send it. I got like a weird error or something. I'm like, oh no, what's going on? And it's something to do with like some connection on the the gateway end, but it got through after like 2 more tries. So
all right, so I'll be doing you'll be seeing me doing a lot more WinLink stuff and that kind of thing on my videos, and get out there on Simplex 2-meter FM. Mike's got the challenge going for the next 2 months, 52 days of 520. A lot of great ideas from all three of us.
Yeah.
Maybe more from me than others, but that's what you would expect. It's my show.
Yeah, it is.
Getting more involvement with ham radio, particularly on the 2-meter simplex. you know, I've said many times, we all complain that we listen and listen and listen and never hear anything, but we just gotta throw that voice out a little bit. So that's it for me. Norm, how about you? Anything coming on the Shacking Off channel that we can look forward to?
Not much yet. We have some super secret stuff we're working back in our R&D department, back in
Okay.
the lab there. Oh
Yeah.
wait, it's through that door, not that
Okay.
door. I forget which door is the R&D lab and which door is the exit. I probably should get some signs because OSHA's been here and has complained about that before.
And that's probably why there's been a lack in or a lag in your video output, because you kind of forgot where the R&D lab is.
Yeah, I just get lost.
All right. And then Mike, with your wonderful channel, you're still doing, every time I watch you, you're doing something fun and new, and you're always entertaining. What's up with you?
I got a handful of, I got a couple antennas, a couple radios, and a couple projects, some of which, you know, are sponsored, some of which I bought on my own that I just need to get around to. Like I was joking around with, you know, the DigiPi and stuff. Like I got a couple things, you know, that I'm definitely working on. And I try to put out a video each week. I've been doing a lot of shorts the last week or two because of like this 5-2 challenge. It's like I'm just, you know, like today, hearing Simplex when I got in the car, I was like, oh my gosh, I got to record something quick, you know, and just share. Like I'm trying to share, you know, the experience with that. But yeah, no, I got some antennas, I got some radios that I'm playing with, and stuff. So there's no shortage of content. There's shortage of time.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I'm drinking from a fire hose because it's the busiest time of me for work and family with kid sports and work travel and everything. But I'm having fun doing what I'm doing, and I'm trying to walk that balance between I'm still trying to be me and stuff, but at the same time, if you know, I'm trying to do, you know, some content that's sponsored. I'm trying to do some stuff that's just my ideas, whatever, you know, and you know, a lot of it, the times whether it's doing these YouTube shorts or doing sponsored content or doing my own thing like this, just, you know, throwing it against the wall and seeing what sticks, what doesn't. You know, I just, you know, learn by doing.
That's what it's all about.
That's
cool. It. All right. Well, I think we've done it. Thanks, guys.
Yes, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
And to the 9 people that are still with us, I think we were up to like 20 at one point. So
oh yeah, this has been one of your highest rated live streams in a while.
Yeah, and we didn't stick to the main topic at all, which kind of helped because that's just the way it goes. But
because Tech Dave left and all of his fans left.
Yeah. Before we had some tech people hop in right away because they saw the topic was Linux and everything, and then we started talking ham radio, and you saw the
Then we came up with our new slogan, ham radio. Yeah. It's even weirder than Linux.
I like it.
Where was that? Yeah.
These guys are weird for Linux.
That's what that might be a t-shirt that we, or a can cooler or something we have at the Huntsville Hand.
Yeah, we need to put that one together.
Awesome. I'm at least going to make some shirts like that. I like that.
Weird for Linux.
And then the ham radio is weird for Linux.
Yeah.
All right.
We'll have to work on the wording.
Yeah,
we've got our people.
We got time.
We've got our I've got my, I forget which store.
Yeah, we got
I've got my marketing department working full time over there.
Maybe just have it say like pseudo weird.
Oh yeah.
Just keep it simple. Pseudo weird.
Oh, that is good.
There you go. It's yours. Run with it.
Writing it down.
Oh, if James Hannibal was here, we can say, "Do you
Yeah.
even to-do, bro?"
Yeah.
All right, we're getting weird again. Thanks for watching, folks. I'm gonna hit the big red button.
All right.
All right.
Take off.
All right.
7-3.
Oh.